Muted.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Better Boards for Team Collaboration webinar. Today's format is going to be a little different from our usual webinars. I'm Brian Cervino, the community manager at Trello, and I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Michelle Earheart, and I'm a support specialist at Trello. I'm usually the person answering everyone's questions during the webinar, but today Brian and I are going to run a short demo and then have a lot of question and answer time where we're answering your questions live. Because it's live, we're not going to be able to answer your questions in chat. So don't worry, we are reading everything you type. And if we don't get to your question, you can always reach out to us at support@trello.com. We can answer you there. So yeah, the other thing, just to let you guys know this ahead of time, we will be emailing, we're recording the webinar right now, and we'll email a copy to everyone. So if you need to go partway through, if you run into audio issues, whatever it is, we will email you the webinar. No problems.
So during today's webinar, we're going to be looking, especially looking for workflows, maybe you haven't really been able to figure out, and how to make them happen in Trello, or maybe some problems you've run into while getting a bunch of people to use Trello. So some things we want to go over today are, we want to take a look at the bad board, better workflows, effective perspectives, why teams, and then, of course, allow plenty of time for some Q&A.
Yeah. All right. With that said, let's get started. Right. So yeah. So there's no wrong way to use Trello. But Brian and I have seen a number of confusing boards.
You could say we've been around the board.
Oh, Dan, don't say that, please. So yeah, if you have a board that looks kind of like this, don't worry, we've all been there. And we're just going to go over some of the ways that you can, I don't know, just make like a clearer version of the board. We're going to go over how this is a little less effective than it could be and compare those two things. So yeah, so here's a board. We've done everything we could to make it difficult to read. Literally, you can't see the title, actually.
I have no idea what this board's called. It's permission settings. And if I was a first-time user, I wouldn't even know that there was a link here to open a menu. This background is insane.
Yeah, it's super overwhelming. And that applies to a lot of this board overall. It's kind of overwhelming. There's a bunch of different lists. If I have a question, I don't know where to put a card. I don't really know who's responsible for something or what's going on here. There's just like, as a first-time user or as someone who doesn't live on this board, there's just a lot going on.
Exactly. Like, there's no perspective.
Yeah.
There's no obvious workflow. What is this project even about? Let's like, I can't even figure that out right now.
Yeah.
We see bugs, which might mean some development, maybe a product development. We have a couple people's to-do lists on here. The marketing team is on here. I don't know why we're keeping track of receipts. And then we got some PR outreach.
Yeah. There's also to-do lists by person, which, there's some assignment going on, but the lists aren't really in the same scope. Like, some of it's specific stuff for someone, some of it's receipts, which is like just a repository, some of it's active to-dos, and that just makes it really hard to understand what's going on. Yeah, looking at the goals April, there's just a bunch of like comments. I'm not exactly sure what the conversation is about here. So that's not ideal. Definitely.
Who's trying to talk to who?
Yeah.
This is definitely a board I'd say that's very, very unclear. Also, confusing card names. What is this, done in goals March? What exactly is Amy doing here with the goals? And really, what do you do with a card once it's done? Another thing that I want to talk about here is the use of labels. Blocker and web design, the same color. I don't really know for any of these cards necessarily what orange means. And why are there web design and blog cards on the same list? So just a lot of questions here. And then this card.
Yeah. Click on Launch Party. Look at that to-do list. There's just a lot going on. Some stuff's due. There's RSVPs on here. There's like just a lot going on this card. Like this is something where we're actually not getting any perspective from the board view because we just see, oh, there's a giant checklist. What's going on here? And it turns out there's a ton going on here, and we haven't really it's really hard to address that. So that's something we might want to look at in the next board.
I want to say that this card could basically be a board. So, all right, this is obviously not the way we want to go when creating our boards to organize our projects. So let's take a look at maybe a better board that has a little more layout and might be easier to understand exactly what's happening.
So what Brian and I did is we took the previous board and we turned it into this board you're seeing here. So we added a different background. So it's simple. It's not the same default blue color, but it's a little more interesting going on, but you can still read everything that's going on. And then we have this left list over here. It's called Start Here, but it explains, here's how to use this board. It's got just some interesting assets. Like if you're visiting this board, you know what's going on, you know where to click. And then you can kind of follow this left to right workflow, like start here, incoming questions, and then things can move off of that list to this week, to up next. And eventually, if you scroll right a bit, you kind of can see the status of where everything is based on the lists here.
Yeah. So I think what's nice here is the lists are clean. They're obvious what they represent. I want to start here with this left list, the start here list. And I think having a kind of how to use a board card as well as repository for maybe team functions for, like in this instance, the marketing team, some basic how-tos is really essential. So I'm going to open this how to use this board card. Here we can see, I can see really quickly at a glance what all the different labels mean on the board. Also, a little message from Michelle here, noting that that previous board was a little crazy. It was a little chaotic. And so we've broken up that board into a couple different boards. We have not only do we have our general marketing board, we have our actual app launch party board, our blog board, and our development release cycle board.
So yeah, if you just, would you mind clicking the development release cycle board?
Mm-hmm.
So remember all those bugs we had here? These are now on their own separate board. Like obviously what the development team is doing is pretty separate from what the marketing team's doing. So they have their own board here. It's got its own incoming list and they can keep track of bugs, separate them from features, like which bugs are people working on versus ones that are still, something you're going to get to later.
And let's just quickly dive back to the original bad board, which for the sake of my own sanity, I'm going to just change this background back to blue.
Someone called it a Louis Vuitton board, which I thought was amazing.
So yeah, as you see, this bugs list that we have on this board with these marketing assets and marketing tasks, what we've done is we're taking this and breaking it out into its own board. And so right here, when the incoming list, we have any new tasks that are created, any new bugs that are discovered, they're going to be put on this list. And Priscilla is the one that's in charge of this board right now. So it's Priscilla's job to move tasks along and then assign people to tasks as they're added to the board. And this way, we have one person that's maintaining everything, seeing what's happening. One person that'll follow up with everyone on, if something hasn't moved in a few weeks, what's blocking something from getting done. And one cool thing that's a cool feature that is good for in this kind of setup with an incoming list is a subscribe to list feature. And so what you can do is you could subscribe to a list, and I see by this little eye icon, that means you're subscribed. So if Priscilla's subscribed to this list, then anytime a new card is added to it, she's going to get a notification. So this way she can quickly hop to that board, see what the bug is, gauge how important it is, and be able to assign someone to that task and get it on its way to being fixed and merged into code.
Yeah, so if you don't mind going back to the original board for a second.
Yep.
Cool. So another really nice feature of this board is you can kind of easily see who's handling what. So incoming, there's still a couple things that no one has addressed yet. And then if you can see there's a bunch of people thinking about entering their event ideas. You've got someone handling AdWords, demo videos for clients. And that means that if I have a question, I'm saying, oh, well, who's responsible for AdWords or how's that going? I know exactly who's responsible. I know where to go on the board to figure that out. And a really nice added feature is that you can actually filter the board based on who's viewing it. So if you hit Q for a second, hitting the Q button will actually bring up all cards that are assigned to you. So right now, Brian's got, here are the things he's working on. It's a really nice way just to like narrow down a board that has a lot going on and say, what do I need to be concerned with here?
And of course, it's also sometimes important to see what other people are doing. So you can always click filter cards and sort out, maybe what Amy's up to, or Amy and Andre. You can also see what Amy has due maybe due in the next day or the next week, what's overdue, needs to get done, etc. So this is another way to just get a quick perspective on the where tasks are at on a board.
Yeah. While we're on filter cards, check out those labels. Those labels make a ton of sense. You've got them divided by area in this case. And so that's a good way just to be like, oh man, which of these are outreach? Like, let me figure that out. And I can see that just looking at the full board.
Exactly. We can see,
Yeah.
maybe if we're going to bring someone in from another team, etc. So let's see. Next, we have what do we want to go here?
Oh, go back to that. Go back to that first card, the how to use this board. Let's check out the launch party board over there. So you remember that card? It had 50 checklists on it. There was just a lot going on.
This was the culprit, I believe.
Yeah. This is just a list of a lot of tasks and stuff like this is the setup team and here's name cards and we need a final head count are items of a very different scope, and to have them all in a list like that is overwhelming. It's really hard to get perspective on what is going on with this event and how complete it is. So yeah, we've got the launch party board.
Great. And once again, here we have a little important info. Right when you go to the board, you're going to see what the different teams are who have various tasks. We have incoming requests coming down here, which is really important. And then we see what needs to get done, who's doing what's assigned to it, and exactly the layout of where we're at as the event approaches. We also have a repository here for all the receipts we're keeping track of, which is not currently mixed up on some development board. I think what's also cool here is that, like, looking at this checklist, you can write in do 5-1, but what is that? This can easily get lost. By creating a card for anything, we can add due dates to these cards, and we'll get notifications. Anyone who's on a card with a due date or anyone who's subscribed to the board is going to get notifications for these due dates, which provides a lot more value.
Oh man, so one question that's coming in a lot right now actually is if we look at this one, how do you create these awesome links to other boards? They look so fancy.
Real easy. This is some of our dev wizardry going on here, but let me just grab this link to this board. All I have to do is just copy this link, and in edit mode, in the description, I can just never go to this board again. And I can paste the link to a board, and it automatically turns it into a nice, fancy, easy to view, easy to click link. You can also do that. It's pretty cool. You can also do that in comments. And not to get things all messy here, but in checklist items as well. And what's really cool is you can also reference a Trello card. So I'm going to put a Trello card right here. And now I can just go right to that Trello card on a separate board. So that's just one quick, easy way to make that links are made to look a lot nicer. It's also, there's actually a bunch of formatting options that might be useful. It's called Markdown formatting. And I know this looks a little intense, but it's actually pretty cool. And you can actually, there's a bunch of ways you can make bold text or emphasis. You can do bulleted lists in Trello descriptions. You can make headers. So let me just show you real quick how you can do that, just in case you're interested. But let's see, I can do, say I want to break up a description. I can put some dashes here. I can make a list for line separated items. And as you see, we have a nice little bar here, kind of breaks up what the card description is. And we can easily create some bulleted lists. So that's just another way that you can do some pretty neat formatting in on Trello cards. And once again, when you're editing a description, just hit formatting help, and you can learn how to do all that.
Awesome.
Any other big questions rolling in right now?
There's a couple small questions, but we can get to those at the end in the Q&A. But that was the one where, like, I want to say like 5 or 6 people were like, wait, how did you get those?
All right.
So just to finish off this board, a really nice thing about this is the card titles are pretty understandable at a glance. Like all of these, I'm like, oh, someone is working on marketing team goals. Someone is redesigning the blog. These are all like pretty clear. You don't have a lot of information in the title. You can instead click on it and then see that information in the actual card.
Exactly. The whole goal of like having an effective Trello board is that, you know, anyone in your team or anyone in your company, a manager, should be able to just scroll through this and, you know, in this much time, kind of get an idea of where every task is at. If you're going through here and you're seeing all this text, here is like a board is linked to in a card title. It's not even clickable. Even if you go to click it here, it's not clickable. Like this doesn't really add any value to anybody. It just creates a lot of confusion. So by having really clear, concise card titles and then more information within the card itself, you know, anyone at a glance is going to be able to see, you know, much easier what's going on with this Trello board and this project.
Yeah. Also, did you notice there's a done list?
Hey.
So that's a really good way to be like, oh, we've now actually finished entering our event ideas. Like we can just click this, move it to done. That's a good way both to be like, what happened to that event? Where did it go? We know where it is. And then every once in a while to completely declutter, because of course, hopefully this list gets kind of long. There's actually a cool way you can archive all the cards in the list, and that'll just, you know, give you a fresh start every week or so, month or so. Depends on how often you finish things.
Yeah, and you can really make sure that the person that's assigned to the board is the one that's in charge of clearing the done list. So what you can do is just go click the little menu icon and archive all the cards in this list. And the great thing about the archive is it really is your friend because now, you know, we don't need to be bothered by all those cards that are done. We don't need distraction. But if I ever want to go back and recall some information from from one of those past cards that I completed, I can always just go into my archived items. And here we go. I have all these cards here. I can search them. I can open it. And of course, if I need to bring this card back into action, maybe some more work needs to be done on it, I can always send it back to the board and maybe move it back to move it back to this week. So this is just, the archive's a great way to keep cards that don't need to be there out of view, but they're always available to retrieve later and reference. Because going back to this board, as you can see, Amy's got this done here, but this clogs up the whole workflow because it's distracting to me to see that this card's done when this card should just not even be on that list, essentially. Now I see what Amy's doing, but with this card here, it's just extra noise. So that's the value. That's the value of the done list.
Awesome. Yeah. Let's jump to teams,
Okay.
just because that's another way that you might want to sort that. So we have all these boards that we've shown, and we've actually conveniently added them all to a team. And so a team is a great way. It just keeps a bunch of boards organized in one place, and it also organizes members. If you click on the members tab, you can just see, oh yeah, here's all the people who are working on this project, or who, you know, might be part of your company.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good way to collect all of that. So if, say, we have this this marketing board.
Although first, let's just quickly say, I was going to say, if you ever want to create a team, just hit the plus sign in the corner here, and then you can create personal team or a business class team. So this is just a personal team, and then I'll show you really quickly a business class team afterwards. But basically, like, yeah, so as Michelle, you were getting into.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So if you go back to the marketing, you notice we've left the marketing board out of here because this is also a pretty big question. What if you already have boards? Do you have to add them to the team separately? Well, if you're an admin of the board, like Brian is on this particular board, you can actually, if you click more in the menu and you hit settings, you can actually move this board to any team you want. So here, Brian's clicking change team, and he can hit it to the best app ever team. That'll move it real quick.
And we have some options here. You know, we probably want to make this team visible so that way anyone on the team can access this board and be able to see the cards, see what's going on. And we also want to make this joinable by any team member. So this way, if anyone has any input or feedback or needs to get involved in any tasks, they can add themselves to cards or comment on any cards. So I'm just going to click change. And then next time we go back to our team page, you're going to see that the marketing board is right there. And so basically, yeah, everyone that's on this team will easily be able to see all their different boards. I also kind of like what you did here, Michelle, with the naming the boards. A little bit of a hack, since boards here are alphabetically listed. Calling them marketing and development kind of organizes them a bit. But let's go to the business class team just to show you what that kind of looks like.
Yeah, so this is a pretty small team. There's not a lot going on. We've got a marketing team, development team. Here's a bigger team, just so you can get an idea of how you would organize it when you have a lot more going on.
Yeah. So what we have here is one thing that's really useful with business class teams are collections. And so what you can do is you can kind of create meaningful tags to organize and sort your boards by. So for instance, we have a collection for our business, for development, our marketing boards. And I could just click on one of these tags to surface all those boards real quickly. It's also really easy to create a new tag. I can just click plus, create a collection. I can name it HR, save that tag, and I can apply that to any board that applies to. So I can quickly go through and apply this to a couple boards, just for example, and then I can filter those boards. What's also cool is that aside from being alphabetical, the default like this team, is that with business class, you can also sort by most recently active boards, number of members, or who has starred a board the most. And really like the number of members and number of stars, I think is really helpful for maybe new hires. They want to see what boards matter most to the company. And those boards are typically going to be starred the most or have the most members on them. As you see, like a company overview board, everyone from the team is on. The most recently active is great though, because you can quickly at a glance just see what boards have had activity, maybe since you last used Trello. Maybe you're on vacation or something for a week, and you can just see, or maybe you're on paternity leave, and since February 16th, and you want to see what's been going on, and no one's worked on your board since you were on paternity leave. That's terrible. No, just kidding. Some other cool features that you get as with the members here, you can view what boards they're on. But with business class teams, you get a little more information. Not only see all the boards that they're on, but you can also view all their cards, which is great, just to make sure that maybe someone's not getting assigned too many tasks, etc. And you can also say someone maybe leaves your team for a while. You can deactivate a member, and what this does is it kind of disables a member's access to boards, but it leaves their avatar on a board faded out, so that you can still easily reassign the work that that person was doing to someone else. And so if I deactivate Amy, and then let's see, go to a board that Amy is on. As you can see, Amy's avatar is faded out, and we see that she's deactivated. Just a really helpful way to, once again, get perspective and collaborate on as a team. Maybe I can assign another board member to Amy's tasks, and this way nothing falls through the cracks. And of course, if Amy ever comes back to the team, I can reactivate. I see Amy's back here. And next time this board loads, as you see, Amy is back on all the cards that she used to be on.
So, yeah. One thing, if you don't mind going back to the team page, the business class team page, I just wanted to clarify. So there's some questions on like which parts are business class, which parts do I have access to? And so the idea of filtering by collections, like, switching to like, these are the campaign boards, here's business. That is a business class feature. Similarly, like sorting by number of stars, number of members. But the idea of starring a board is not business class, tied to business class. So say if I,
board.
This is a great board. I'm like, I need to remember where this board is because I need to add content here. I can star the board. And if I head to my boards page, this is going to show up as one of the starred boards. If this is my most important board, I can actually drag it to the front. You can drag around your starred boards just to make sure where you're going.
And they're also in the boards menu.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so they'll show up right there. That's just a good way to like highlight a couple boards that you particularly want to go to pretty often. And actually, a pretty cool trick is if you want to go to the first starred board, if you go to Trello.com with 2 slashes after it instead of 1, you will automatically get taken to that board again. Beautiful. And so that's pretty cool in that if you type something else, say you type marketing or you type app launch or whatever it is, Trello will actually search for the first board that matches that. Let's see if I do editorial. Let's see if I go to the editorial calendar there. I do. Perfect.
Yep.
So yeah, that's just a good way to like quickly link to whatever board you're on. Let me go back so that we're on your. Oh, you got it. All right. Yeah. Cool. And so if you star a board, that's specifically for your account. That's not going to start for everyone who's on the board, which is a nice way because if you add a board to a team, that is going to show up for everyone who's on that board.
Probably the last cool feature about collaborating is just some power-ups, ways to get visualize some of your information on boards. So let me find something. So every account comes with a calendar power-up, the card aging power-up, and the voting power-up. And I am not an admin.
Oh, sorry. Try that one. Yeah.
Okay. You have to be an admin of a board to enable it. So there we go. So what's really cool is just one way to get a different perspective and collaborate differently is maybe with a calendar power-up. With that enabled, you can see there's a now calendar view, and any cards with due dates on them show up in the calendar. You can drag cards on the calendar to change the due date. If you're actually in charge of a board, the card aging power-up might be really useful. Now, this isn't going to show anything right now, but what happens is as cards go untouched or without activity, they get an increasingly aged look. And there's actually 2 options. You can either do regular mode, which kind of makes the card look gray and transparent. Or for those that like to have a little more fun, there's pirate mode, which kind of turns your cards on your board into an aged pirate map. So this is a great way for anyone who's kind of maybe monitoring incoming or what's being worked on this week. If you start seeing a card that's starting to age, you might want to ping someone who's on the card. And what I could do is, like, let's say I noticed that this card isn't doing anything, hasn't moved to this week or up next. I can actually mention the person on the card, say, hey, when are we going to start working on this? Or, and just ping them. This will send them a notification. So it's just, the card aging power-up is really useful for kind of getting a good idea on keeping tabs on what maybe is kind of falling by the wayside. And then finally, voting, just to go over it, just allows people to add votes to cards. Maybe for our event, maybe we want to debate about what food we want or something. we can enable the voting power up, and you can cast a vote on a card and see who's voted, which is just which is pretty useful. But with business class, let's just real quick, just want to show you some of the cool power ups come with that, because I think it allows collaboration with the team to get even more advanced, because we have a whole suite of power ups that integrate your favorite apps right into your Trello workflow. So I think it makes easier collaboration with different departments and different people, because you can get information from some of your most important apps without actually having to leave Trello.
Yeah, no, that's super useful. We're not going to demo any of them in particular right now. The main reason for that is we're short on time, and that is already exists as a webinar. It's been recorded.
Yes.
You can go there. I
Here
think
we
you
go.
open. Here we are.
If you go to trello.com/webinars, we do actually have our power ups and business class webinars that demonstrate a lot of these power ups. And of course, you can always go to trello.com/powerups and learn all about all the different power ups and how they integrate right into your Trello workflow. So I think that's basically a lot of what we want to cover today, right?
Yeah, I think we're going to do Q&A for the rest of the hour. And once again, thank you everyone for attending. If you need to go at any point, we are going to email a recording of this webinar to everyone in the next couple days. Also, if we don't get to your question, or a couple people I've mentioned your question's a little complicated for me to answer right now, you should email our support team at support@trello.com, and they are awesome. I'm not just saying that because I'm a member of them. They can go over your questions in more detail, like screenshots, troubleshoot any bugs you're seeing, and just answer your questions there.
All right.
So yeah, let's start doing.
Should we just go right into here?
Let's do questions and answers.
All right, let's see. Question from Jack. What do you do when a board doesn't have a workflow? Like it's just a list of ideas or something. All right. Well, that's a good point. Not every Trello board has to be a project or workflow they're getting to. For instance, here's a board. This is an employee manual that we actually, this is a version of our employee manual that we use here at Trello. And really, this is kind of board acts more as a repository of information. This is a board that anyone at the company can easily access from anywhere to learn about any company policies, etc. Maybe you're at the dentist and you want to know how do you pay for your dentist, or what's covered. I was on jury duty recently, and I had no idea about what we did with jury duty pay when I had to fill out the form. And on my phone, I have the Trello app installed on my iPhone, and I was quickly able to pull up this jury duty pay card and fill out all the required information for jury duty. So yeah, this is something that cards aren't really going to move on this board. This is actually going to be static because everyone in the company is going to be referencing it. Then there's also some boards maybe such as this board. They're going to be a little of each. This is a new hire onboarding board. So I see we have tasks here about what to do, maybe your first day of work or your first week of work for any new hires. But we also have a repository of information, quick reference stuff, maybe for general questions, who's on the team, etc. And what we can do is we can copy this board for every new hire. New hire Tim. And basically now every person, every time we bring someone new into the company, they'll have the same tasks for getting started, as well as the also have the important information about the company. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, Anne also mentions that we sound like a great company to work for, which, yes, confirmed. We are actually hiring right now. If you guys go to Trello.com/jobs, you'll see our openings. We anticipate that changes from week to week. So keep an eye on that if you're looking, and we would love to have you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, let's see. Simon asks, how can you view cards for a single member over multiple boards in one view?
And sort of related, Sue has they have one board per project. Is there an easy way to see what one person's doing across boards, just so you can get a sense of how busy is someone, what should they be working on?
Oh yeah, okay.
And
So
so you might want to start I guess the personal one. If you want to see all the cards that you're looking at or that you are assigned to, there's a My Cards page.
yeah, so I'm going to just go to this tab. And so you click your name and click cards. And so what I have here is all my assigned cards sorting by board. But I can also switch that and sort by due date and see what's upcoming, what's due later, what's overdue. And then any card that, oh no, this is due in the next week, I better get to it, I can just click right through to that card. So super convenient, super easy. And then, do you want to tackle Sue's question?
Yeah, I mean, so if you want to do that with someone else, say you are in, I guess you can't actually, if you don't want to do it within a team, you'd need to be in a business class team. But if we actually go to, I guess let's check out Amy's profile. Um, if we go to Amy's profile, we can actually see her cards as well. And with business class, this is available like per team. But in this particular case, we can see all of Amy's cards across all boards, assuming that she's apparently in a lot of cards.
Oh, Amy is an alert.
Oh, there we go.
And this would just be cards that are...
Yeah, this is everything that she's responsible for across Trello, which in this particular case, assuming that your person isn't working overtime like Amy is here, it's going to show all of the cards you have across boards.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Rodney says, communication within Trello. I've noticed that I'm getting emails from my team member. Is there a way to log these communiques in one place? So I'm assuming with this question that you're getting emails from someone who like is in Trello, but they're not actually, it's not about Trello. It's not a Trello notification email. And in that case, if you act, we actually, almost. There's an email to board option here. So if you have email to board settings, you can actually, will generate an email address. You can pick a list that it'll show in. So if you want them to show up, incoming is a really good one. You have an idea and you're on the subway and you don't have any internet connection. You can send an email to this address and it'll automatically make your thoughts show up in the incoming list here. So yeah, pretty cool. Are you going to try and send an email to that really quick?
All right, let's see. Ready?
All right, Brian's trying to send an email, see how quickly it'll show up. So I don't think you guys can actually see he's opening Gmail. I'll narrate for you guys.
Send and send.
All right.
And there it is.
Oh man, super quick.
Super fast.
Yeah, we actually made that faster recently. So yes, your ideas will show up as soon as you get internet connection, which is pretty cool.
So yeah, if that's what you mean by looking as a way of tracking emails on a Trello board, you can
CC the address when you're having a conversation with someone. All of those cards will show up on the board.
And then you can move that right into a process.
Yay.
All right. Let's see. Is there a way to make it clear that one person is responsible for the card in terms of project management and the rest of the team on the card are reps from their departments?
So what I was thinking with this one is... Yes, I guess, in that you can actually display just a lot of information on a board using, because it is flexible, you can, say I'm trying to create a new card here. Say we have someone who's department rep and we just want everyone to know hey, Michelle's handling, I have the wrong card here. Michelle's handling everything on this board right now, but our department rep is actually Brian. It's just a good way to display information at a board level so that anyone who's visiting this page will be able to see that. Same goes for special information that you need to pass along. Maybe you don't have all of these how-tos, but you have a lot more ask us questions in this way. Here's a template card. You can put that all on the main page.
Let's see. Jesse asks, how do you keep track of a lot of due dates? Is there a calendar function? We showed that calendar power up once again, just a refresher for anyone. In the sidebar, click power ups, and then you can enable your calendar. One really cool thing that I should go over with the calendar is calendars. Actually, every calendar has an iCal feed. So if you enable that, here's your personal iCal feed for this board. And so you could import this iCal feed into any third-party calendar, such as Google's Calendar, Apple, Outlook, etc. And this will add all the cards with due dates from this board into your calendar. And if, say, you have 10 Trello boards and you want to keep track of all your due dates for all your boards in one place, you can always import your iCal feed from every board with the calendar power up enabled. Super convenient way to kind of merge all your Trello tasks and Trello due dates with the rest of your life due dates.
Oh man, here's one that I did want to hit because it's a little tricky.
Oh.
Can you remove a sticker from a card? It's not the most intuitive process, so it's not a bad one to go over now. Just if you have stickers on your cards, they are removable, promise.
Let's say the blog's redesigned.
Huzzah.
And we're really psyched about it. So we put a sticker on it.
Ooh, actually, we can answer two questions at once because someone was asking if if a card is moved to done and then turns out redesign's not finished. You actually forgot to do this other page. What do you do with that card?
Oh, so okay. So I guess what I would do is first I'd end the celebration by clicking the pencil icon right up here, clicking my sticker, and hitting remove. And we're no longer celebrating the fact that the blog was redesigned. And we're going to move it back, hopefully, to this week.
Yeah.
So we're going to drop back here and hopefully get that done. I might even put confused taco. What happened? Why is this not done? So yeah, that's an easy way. Just always feel if something isn't done, then just drag it back to where it should be on your lists. Let's see. Someone asks finding archive cards or lists. Kind of went over that, but let me just real quick touch on that again. Click more. Click archived items. You can sort between lists or cards. You can search for anything.
And again, if you remember that you've archived a card, but you're not exactly sure where it is, you can also, archive cards will show up in search. And so I think if you type goals, that should maybe bring it up, the card that you just saw.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things in
Goals
here,
April?
but like there's Goals April, and it's been archived, and you'll still be able to find it. So,
and what's actually cool is you can actually, there's search operators, so is archived. We'll only bring up ones from archived. I believe is open, which show only cards that have goals on it that are actually open. And there's actually a bunch of neat search operators that you can go through, which might be useful. Let's see. What else do we got here?
I'm seeing Karen and Matt, and I think a couple other people asked about just security issues in general. We're not going to go super into detail here because there is a convenient place you can go to find a really detailed thing. So I think if you go to, I believe it is trello.com/security, that'll bring you to just the one pager we have on all of the way we handle things. I believe from there, you can actually request more information from our support team and get just like an overview of any security issues you are worried about. We're happy to address them.
Yeah, we're always really want to make sure that we answer any of those questions, but definitely email support if you have any, because we want to make sure we get in depth and in detailed about any concerns you would ever have. Let's see, Martine, do you recommend labels for department or use the GTD labels, do this week, hold for later, etc.? I mean, really, you could use either or. I mean, wouldn't you say, Michelle?
Yeah, I think it depends on what your board looks like.
Yeah.
Because our board right now is set up like, there's a pretty clear workflow of currently working on, on hold, working on later. We've used the labels as the other aspect that these cards have, which is the area that they could be in.
Right.
But say your board is organized by I just want to keep an eye on everything that the dev team is doing, everything that involves PR, then using labels to indicate status is a really good way. Labels just give you another way to show another dimension almost to what you're looking at. And then you can filter, of course, by any of these labels. Another cool way to use them is you can have multiple cards per color, but there's a no color label. So let's say we have a new person we're hiring called Emily. We're going to use this tag called Emily, and we're just going to add it to a couple cards. They won't show up on the front. Say Emily is a video designer. She's going to look at the video. She's going to work on our PR outreach with another video. You can kind of use these no color labels as a tag. they won't show up on the front, and so you could have like 20 of these no color labels if you wanted, and then you could filter. That's not filtering. Filter by Emily, and you can still bring up that option
Yeah,
for those cards.
that's a really good point. And I believe there's also a similar question. Oh, how do you assign titles to each color for customized labels?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
once again, in case you missed that when Michelle just demonstrated, create a new label, name it whatever you want. You can pick the color for that label, and then create. And now we have that new label. And then you can always edit the name of a label.
Yeah.
New. And now we have a different label name. Let's see. Karen, can you drag pics in from the internet? Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. It's actually a really cool feature. This is a fun one.
Let's see. In case you don't know,
and I think this only works on Firefox and Chrome. It might work on Safari. I'm not sure.
I don't know if you've ever seen our mascot, but our mascot Taco is a husky. So we love huskies here. So I'm going to search for husky puppies.
Oh.
And that's pretty adorable.
Super cute.
Look at all these.
Oh my god, I didn't know there were so many colors, actually.
So what we can do is view the image. Then we can just drag this, drop it, and it's added right to the card. So super easy way to do that. Once again, for the sake of showing another husky puppy, I will do that again. Just click right here and drag it onto a card. As you can see, this has made a card cover. You can always remove the card cover if you want by just opening the card and clicking remove. One other cool thing while we're going at it with links is maybe I want to get my opinions from my team. So I'm going to, and I want to share this whole link with everyone. I want them to access it. So which husky puppy? I'm going to create a quick card. Open up. When I attach a link, I can paste it in here, and then I can just actually I can rename the link, which is really convenient. Husky puppy pics. Now any of my team can just go and open that link in a new tab. But let's say I want to get everyone's opinion about the huskies on the board. I can mention board. See, I can mention all members of the board and say, which is the cutest? Now everyone that is on the board, all these members, will all get a notification with my question in this comment, which husky is the cutest. They can go check it out. For cards where there are just a couple members, I can also do @card. And I can just mention the two members that are on this card and they'll get a notification. You might want to use the @board mention sparingly. You do wield a lot of power with notifications in that.
That's true.
Let's see. What do we got next?
Do you have any example boards like the ones we're looking at today that you guys can look at, access on your own?
Yes, actually.
If you, Donna, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but you have asked an excellent question.
If you go to trello.com/inspiration, we have a ton of boards that are both Trello boards that we've created, internal boards we've made public, or just from a whole bunch of people, users from the community, various companies. There are tags you can sort, you can search, and way at the bottom here, we have a whole bunch of tags you can go through. Let's say this board, you can click to view it. If you like the way this layout is, you can always go into more, copy the board, maybe editorial calendar. You can choose if you want to keep the cards, or maybe you just want to keep this kind of workflow, the list workflow. So now I have my own copy of this board, and I can start creating my own version of the board. Anytime there's a related blog post, whether it's written by us or by someone else in the community, we link to those so you get some more in-depth information.
Cool. We're coming up on time, and we're definitely not going to get to everyone's questions. You guys are asking super awesome questions, and there's a ton of them. We're going to get to all we can. And again, if we don't get to you, email us at support@trello.com. I'll post that in chat just so that you guys have it. And you guys, we answer all of our questions that are sent there. So we will get back to you there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nick asks, he's got a video multimedia company with a couple clients. Is it better for each client to have a separate board, to have your full company as one board? I mean, again, it depends on your specific circumstance, but I think in this case, I might split out your clients because
Yeah.
presumably you're working on different projects for each client, and especially because you'll notice on this one we've added Brian as a non-team member. This way, you can add your client to each separate or the relevant client to their board, and they'll be able to see what's going on without getting a sense for all of your company's projects, just because
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I could see that. If you're going to be collaborating with your client in Trello, or if you're just using Trello for you to manage the projects, and then you're going to be collaborating or sharing, with them via email or some other resource, that may be when you'd want to make that choice. If you're collaborating with clients, you might want to have a separate board for each client just for that sake of privacy between the different projects, and so you don't have confusion or one client acts making comments on or moving cards on cards that aren't theirs.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
You want to do the next one? Or?
So best practice for collaborating when revising files, i.e. a different person approves updates by other people.
I'll tell you what we do in Trello with multiple people using a file. And that's actually, we host it somewhere else. You'll notice if you go to a card and you go to attachments, you can attach from Google Drive, Dropbox, a bunch of other places. And this is a really good way to attach files where maybe not everyone on the board has access to it. Maybe you want to keep one place where the revision is. You can actually use Google Drive and we'll integrate that. There are integrations with business class to show that information on the card, but also then that keeps all of the changes in one place and make sure that the right people have access to it. Whoop.
So we're going to attach.
Do's.
Not related to design the blog, but just we're gonna really throw a party when this blog is designed now. At this point, yeah. Now anyone on my team, we can all access this here and collaborate in a document real easily. Jump right from Trello into that doc.
Cool.
Yeah.
What do you do with a board once a project is done?
Well, I like to.
Disconnected.
It's because of lunch before. When a project's done, probably one of the best things you could do is to just close the. Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know this one.
I need to be an admin.
Aw.
Let me find a board that I'm an admin of. Any board.
I'll do this one.
Okay. So if you're done with the project, you can just close the board. And this won't delete it or anything. This board is now closed. As you can see, it's no longer going to be in my boards list. It's just kind of out of view, out of sight. However, if you ever need to get back to this project, maybe there's something you want to reference on it.
Yeah, you can click here to reopen it, obviously. But say if you lose the link or whatever, you'll be able to find it at the bottom of your boards menu. Hit all the way at the bottom, you'll see close boards, and this will just show any board that you have the authority to reopen. So in this case, it's marketing. Here it back is.
Do you know a way to track time with Trello? Yeah, actually, here's a great resource.
Here, I can.
If you want to share that in chat.
Yeah.
Integrations.
So yeah, there's a couple of ways to customize Trello. A big one is time tracking. There's also some reporting tools in here. Ways to if you want to hide lists or shrink them or reorganize the layout. There's a bunch of integrations you can install, which will just I don't know. That'll they're good ways to customize Trello in a way that might be kind of complicated for us to add overall, or even just in a way that we don't have right now.
Yeah. So check out Trello.com integrations for browser extensions, add-ons, etc. Business class power-ups and everything. See how we do on time. Got a few more minutes left. Let's try and get through as many questions as possible. Rodney says, I have about 1,200 cards I need to keep track of. I understand there's a limit to the amount of cards I can have within one board. Have I exceeded that limit?
So there's no formal limit. You can add as many cards as you want to a board. That said, Trello's performance is basically determined by how many cards are on a board. And so as it gets bigger, a couple hundred, definitely once you've hit 1,000, it'll get slower. And that, again, depends on your computer, depends on your internet connection. At that point, the best thing to do is to split a board into multiple boards. If you have that much stuff, you can probably split it in some way. Or if a lot of them are done, you're not touching them anymore. Archiving those cards will get them off the board. It'll keep it snappy, which is much easier to use.
Exactly. Yeah. If you archive those cards, the board's going to load faster, and you can still search and pull up any archive card later. Any other questions?
Yeah. Let's see. You mentioned the Q shortcut earlier. Are there other shortcuts?
Oh, great question. There's a ton of shortcuts. If you just hit the question mark key on your keyboard, you'll bring up our keyboard shortcuts menu, and you can go through here and see a ton of the keyboard shortcuts that are available. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do to save time. So I definitely check that out.
Let's see. Have we shown renaming attachment links?
Yep. I showed that with the Husky
did.
puppies.
Sorry, I got distracted. Oh, yes, you did. With everyone's. I'm reading all the questions at the same time. Yeah, awesome. Let's see. Does Trello use one master board to view everything, or rely on smaller boards to manage and track projects, or both? It's a bit of both. So, like, you might. I guess if we go to our inspiration page, one really useful one. Sorry, that's a shortcut I have on my computer that does not exist on yours. If we find the company overview board, this is a really good way of like, how do you have an overview of a company while still having personal boards? You know, like I don't want to, if I'm not on the marketing team, I don't want to just like hang out, check the marketing board every time something happens. This is a really good way to get perspective across your entire company while still having individual products. So, you know, say, here's the marketing thing. Maybe they'll link to the marketing board here if I want more details. It's got just, you know, a couple, like what's going on, it doesn't get into the nitty gritty, but it gives me, the CEO, or just someone who wants to see how the sales team is doing, an overview there.
Yeah. And then also, we can also, on any projects, if a project has its own board, we can link to them in a card as well. So, you know, we could break it down by, we could link here, we could, get an overview of each team, what each department's doing, link to their main boards, and then any other little projects they're working on. Great call there.
Let's see. I'm confused about personal teams versus collections. Why would you use one versus the other? So that it's a trick. This is a tricky question. We're also probably going to end on this one. Unfortunately, we're sadly out of time. But let's see. So here's a team. And if you have a personal team, this is the main thing here is it groups members. If I want to upgrade this team to business class later, I'm upgrading everyone in the team. So if I create a new team for every project, I'm going to have to upgrade 12 teams. That's definitely not cost efficient. And so that's when I think this is the business, your business class team comes in handy. Say you have the same group of people, but they're working on a lot of projects. Maybe you have just a lot of clients. Maybe this is your company and you know, you have a lot of boards across the company, but you are, you know, one group of people overall. It makes sense to have you all in one members list. That's when I would have just one team, but create multiple collections to, you know, make this giant group of boards a little more manageable. So yeah, I think that's it for time. Yeah. But thank you all so much for attending. This was super awesome. Once again, we're going to email you with this webinar. So if there's anything that you missed, if there's anything that you wanted to just rewatch, you'll get that in your email. And definitely email us at support@trello.com because I saw a lot of really cool questions we didn't get a chance to answer.
Yeah, we'd definitely love to know what's in your mind, you know, for any future webinars we're doing. We'd love to know what you'd love to learn about, you know, how we can help your team or what kind of teams you're working in that maybe you'd like to dig into some workflows a little more. So once again, thanks everyone, and we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye.